Welcome back to Booze, Bros, and Cars, your favorite podcast
BBC.
about booze and cars. Yes, BBC. And we're your hosts. I'm Eric.
I'm Mike.
I'm Carmelo.
And I'm Nick.
All right. So, of course, first up, we're always going to be talking about the drinks that we're going to be having here tonight. So, I have a couple lined up. One of them is I've had their beer before here on the podcast, which is from Prairie Artisan. So, I have their pumpkin pie treat. So this is a sour ale with pumpkin pie spice, blended with toasted marshmallow flavoring. So it's 5% ABV, so it's pretty light beer. So I'm looking forward to trying that. The second one, I'm actually super stoked to try this because it is a apple cider donuts beer. I love apple cider donuts. I've got a couple of siblings that live up in North Carolina, and I'm actually going to be having apple cider donuts delivered to me next weekend because I've got my parents coming down from North Carolina, and they're so good. The place that I go to is called Skytop, and they literally have like their little conveyor belt, and they will literally have the donuts flipped from the oil into cinnamon sugar. They like toss it in there, and then from the cinnamon sugar into the little box into your hand. So you get them blazing hot. They're like fresh donuts, and then when you grab one of those soft, fluffy little bastards and you put it in your mouth, oh my god, dude, it is the best thing ever. So I'm really excited.
We can tell. We can tell how excited you are.
Dude, they're so good, man. I'll see if I can have some brought down for you guys too. But anyways, I'm looking forward to trying that out because I just love apple cider donuts.
So I gotta ask, is there any chance that those few bottles of beer that I bought are coming down with them?
You see, I was kind of hoping that you wouldn't ask me because, yes, they are coming down, and I was going to surprise you with them.
I had no idea your parents were up there right now and on their way down. So
yeah, they're going to bring them down next. I think they come down next Saturday, next Sunday. One of those 2 days they're going to be coming down. So you'll have your beers in a couple weeks.
Nice.
Yeah, Mike, what do you got lined up here for tonight?
First one I'm doing, which, by the way, viewers, happy Halloween. This episode is being recorded on a Sunday, so this should land in your inbox on Tuesday, which is going to be October 31st. So happy Halloween to everybody. Be safe. Have fun. Hopefully your kids get lots of candy. I'm starting off with a little Woodford Blue Label, the malt whiskey. Starting off in Nick fashion, couple of fingers, got some whiskey, whiskey stones in there. I like it a little bit, be a little chilled. Sorry, Nick, I know that offends you, but second one for tonight in the spirit of Halloween.
As long as it's stones and not ice, I'm pretty cool with it.
It's stones, yep. This is Gourd's Gone Wild from Tampa Bay Brewing Company. Tried a couple things from Tampa Bay on here so far, but this is their pumpkin ale, 6% ABV. Does contain lactose, so it's got a little bit of different flavor characteristic than you would from like a normal pumpkin beer, but this is really good. I had it in the past, but I'll give you some flavor notes here shortly.
Interesting.
Carmelo, what are you drinking tonight?
So tonight I'm drinking a collaboration of 450 North and Odd by Nature Brewing. It's a slushy XL, referred to as a claw in this iteration. Some cherry, orange, vanilla, and lime. Not so much on the Halloween, but ironically, Eric, I had the same beer that you're drinking in the fridge. I went to pull it, and something told me not to do it tonight. I don't know why. The pumpkin pie, it's like an ale something. Something told me not to do it.
That one?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
I got it at number 3. Shout out to the crew over there. Cold. It looked good. I had one there, but for some reason tonight, I was like, you know what? Let me do something cold.
Yeah.
So that's what I got. Nick, what are you drinking tonight, buddy?
So I'm trying to do a little lighter. I've had a couple or a few nights back to back of more drinking than I like to admit.
Yeah.
So only 2 for the night instead of my normal 3 backups. So for the sake of fall and whatnot, it's really not Halloween, but another Funky Buddha, sweet potato casserole.
Oh, that's a good
my
one.
second. The one I'm more excited about that I've taken just a sip while we were sitting here and is intriguing. It was delicious. I found an ad on Facebook and I bought something. Right, for once, not like some random shit from China. This was for Whistle Pig. This is their Whistle Pig piggyback single barrel. But this particular one, so it's 96.77 proof. So was that 48% alcohol? But it is specially picked by the Alfa Romeo F1 team. Like they pick the barrels and the blend, and it's theirs. So it's actually like you'll see on there. It is the Alfa Romeo F1 team.
That's cool.
Nice.
Special little thing there. Yeah. So the cool thing about this that I did not realize originally is it's a Whistle Pig single barrel, but then they finish it in a lychee and oolong tea barrel. So you can actually taste that lychee, and that tea almost kind of smooths and mellows the whole thing out. Because it is technically a rye whiskey, and I usually do not like ryes. They're usually a little harsh for me. Yeah. The lychee and oolong barrel did something to it, and it's still a little hot. I mean, it's almost 100 proof, but it's tasty. I bought 3 bottles, so I will share some next time we're together. But yeah,
interesting.
Sounds interesting.
That's my.
The lychee puts like an interesting note. So is it like a hint of like sweet at the end, or?
I wouldn't say sweet, but like if you've ever had like any of those like Japanese lychee drinks or stuff like that,
yeah,
that flavor's there. Like it hits like pretty quick, kind of like in the mid to finish of the drink. And but I wouldn't say sweetness. Maybe it's a perceived sweetness just because I know lychee is usually really sweet. Yeah, but the flavor is very clear there, and I don't know how much of the oolong I get per se, but I'm gonna say that that's probably what's helping kind of cool down that typical spicy rye. And it was intriguing. I was concerned, but now I'm happy that I bought it.
Nice. I actually have something for you guys to try too, which I'll show you guys later. But I showed Carmelo earlier today, but it's good. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into car talk. So if any of you guys are actually following any automotive pages, this has actually kind of been an exciting week here for automotive news. So first up, and I'm actually excited to talk about this one because it kind of hits close to my heart. But Mazda actually announced that they're going to be releasing something. They're calling it the SP right now. So it's a new rotary powered vehicle. So I'm stoked about it. They're doing like a little twist to it though.
Powered?
Yeah, they said it has a 2-rotor, but it's
Did you hear what it's powering?
Yeah, it's a hybrid motor. So it's going to be a hybrid rotary engine. So, but it's not going to be like, because I've heard somebody saying something about like, oh, the rotary is going to act like a generator. I don't believe that. I don't think that's going to be the case, but it's still going to be like a hybrid vehicle. But reading up on some news about it, it's going to be based off of the current generation ND2 Miata. It's only a foot longer than the ND2, which is actually kind of mind-blowing. So it's still going to be a relatively small car. It's going to be within 1,000 pounds heavier of the ND2 Miata. So it's still going to be very light. And I'm assuming it's going to be a very nimble vehicle.
Within 1,000 pounds heavier? I got bad news for you, buddy. The only thing that adds that much weight are EV batteries for a foot of extra lightweight body.
Can I drop a bombshell on you guys?
It might be an EV. I'm concerned.
If you
they're saying right now it's a hybrid.
So if you want, I can screen share this. But Car and Driver is saying that much like the BMW i3 had a generator range extender, that's what the rotor is going to be.
Oh well, you see, that's going to be disappointing then, because like
that's what I read. I heard too.
Yeah,
that's unfortunate. Not because I know I was talking about this the other day with somebody, but if you look under the hood, there's a hybrid system pairing an unspecified number of electric motors. They said the Mazda says the rotary engine's used for power generation, implying that it's a range extender. Similar setup.
Oh, you see, that's going to be disappointing.
Yeah, it's like what the Chevy Volt did back in the day and stuff like that. Same exact thing with the generator.
Yeah, I mean,
good. Like,
it's I'm torn, right? Like, because this is the future of how everything is going to go from here on out, right? Like, I was more like Eric. I was more hoping that this was going to be hybrid drivetrain in of the fact that the rotary would still power the car with the assistance of some electric motors to give it some more power. But from what they're saying, this thing is, I think, supposed to be around 365 horsepower. So even though it's probably going to be an EV, rotary might just be as a range extender just to charge the batteries. I feel like it's still a step in the right direction. I mean, at least Mazda's, granted, this is probably never gonna see production. Just like, what was it, the RX-9 concept that they did a couple of years ago that looked phenomenal. Again, just a beautiful, beautiful car, but never did anything with it. But there was a lot of buzz a couple of years ago when people found out that Mazda put in another patent for a rotary engine, or for a rotary.
Yeah.
But I wonder if this was basically what that was. Everybody got jazzed about it, thinking that it was going to be the next power plant for an RX style vehicle, and then to find out that it might just be to power the batteries in it. That's like a punch in the gut. I mean, Mazda still makes some fantastic cars. They really got into their SUV game. They're doing a lot of luxury stuff these days. But like, I think this was like, everybody was like, oh my God, are they really doing like another sports car to go along with the 400Z, the Supra, the everything else that's come out recently. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it makes production.
It's a missed opportunity for the use of the rotary, in my opinion.
100%.
But even a hybrid, like Eric was saying, sounds great. But if you think about the mechanical side of things, NA rotary engines have no power, no torque. It's one of the reasons why I ended up in the Speed 3 when I looked at the RX-8 in that R3 trim that they had back in the early 2010s. But my ultimate question is, if it's only going to act as a generator, will it have Brap? Right? Like, I mean, if the car Braps, that would add to it.
Yeah.
Like imagine a Tesla 3 performance, like speed, but with that brap, 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 right? You know what I mean?
I mean,
if
you do
I wouldn't hold your breath on that one.
You can do a peripheral port and add the Braps to it.
I mean, but you can always.
That kind of is.
You can always throw a speaker in it, like they do with all the other electric vehicles these days, like Dodge that tried to make it sound like a Hemi.
So the one thing I think that could be interesting though is now Mazda has now re-engineered a modern rotary. Like, how long before somebody gets their hands on two of them, slaps them together, does a little work, and they've got a brand new re-engineered, forwarder
13B
to throw into something. So there could be some potential for some non-hybrid BS, on the side.
The second coming of the Galaxy rotor.
I mean,
it could be interesting.
Nick makes a really good point, because if it's going to be a generator, it can't be the flop of a motor that was in the RX-8. It actually has to be a motor that actually lasts. Yeah, like it actually has to be a motor that has to last a very long time.
That's just it. We know they're not using the same old because they had to repatent everything. So
exactly.
They've had to change a lot. So that from that aspect, it could be interesting. I mean, this could be a new engine swap for all the rotary guys out there here soon. Some new re-engineered, brand new rotaries.
That's a positive. Yeah. That's a positive way to look at it.
I'm trying, man, because otherwise I'm not excited about this thing at all.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
design doesn't even do anything for me. It's bland. It doesn't.
Do you know what I like about the design? Is they're trying to bring back pop-up headlights, but in a modern way. Like, this thing has pop-up headlights.
Yeah,
which I saw the front of that.
Yeah,
it's kind of.
They're still not going to
really pop-ups. It's just more like
it's probably like an eyelid, just like a little.
Yeah.
It's not the NA Miata with the holes.
Yeah, you'll never see them again. They're illegal.
No.
How does that come work?
Pedestrian safety.
Cut out.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Like, it's got some cool nods to the past. It's kind of upsetting to know that they're really not going to utilize the rotary for much more than just power generation, because that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, and this thing should come with a manual and should be able to rip, but that's not Mazda anymore.
And
unfortunately,
rev to the fucking moon.
That's not Mazda anymore, though. No. Unfortunately,
no.
They've basically have told us all that for years now. Like, we don't want to be a childish brand anymore. We want to cater ourselves to be a luxury brand, and that's
And they
how it
miss the
goes.
fact that all the children now have adult money and they want the things they couldn't afford back then. So
Right.
Yeah,
that's a
Yeah,
miss on
exactly.
their part.
yeah.
Which I mean, like I feel like if they release like a true rotary
Turbo.
performance vehicle, they would actually like their sales would boost up significantly, because I mean, look at the sales of, like, to Mike's point, the 400Z, the Supra, like the sales of those things are actually they're going to start increasing, especially when the whole markup thing kind of goes away, because people that were fans of Mazda, you know, way back in the day, they're gonna want the new, more modern rotary, and that's what people want. So Mazda just needs to give the people exactly what they want, which is a true rotary sports car.
So, and I see what you're saying here, but you know what wouldn't upset me? Because I think the rotary thing is from Mazda, from the factory, is never going to happen again. However, they have that new turbo straight six.
Yes.
That could be rowdy in a little car with a little bit of tuning. That, like, put that in this new SP if it ever comes out. Drop a straight six in it with a turbo.
Take it out of the CX-90, put it in there. Yeah.
Give it a little tweak.
I agree with that.
Could be a pretty cool traditional engine, you know, ICE engine. Will they do that? I don't know, but the engine's there. It's been developed.
Do you think that they'll do that though?
No, because it means fun, and they're not fun anymore.
Exactly.
But
That's
that way.
That's my worry.
At what point will Mazda realize they need a Halo car? Because, no offense, but a Miata is not a Halo car. Miata's a great car in itself, but nobody looks at that and says, you know what, that's the car, you know, I want to save 5 years for and buy cash, 10 years and buy cash.
I don't know, man.
Well,
I feel like the Miata has, it's been around since 91.
90.
So, like, it's you know, that
it's iconic.
It's not a Halo car that we would think, but I feel like to them it is. And they're so focused on their SUVs now. Like, that's all they're doing. I mean, it's just like a lot of other manufacturers. That's all they care about. Like the CX-90 is like
the market here
now. So I don't know. We all loved Mazda. We did. We all had some fun Mazdas. I still have a Miata, but like we try to hold on to that, right? Like that little aspect of like, come on, Mazda, like you can do this again. But I really don't think it's ever going to happen. I don't. I think they've just gone in a new direction. But never know.
They're almost. They've gone, but the other company that I can think of that's gone in this direction, more on financial hardship than like intention, is Mitsubishi, where Mitsubishi's gone in like entry level. Mazda's clearly going high line. They're doing it right, unlike they did in the late 90s, early 2000s, where they almost went bankrupt. But everybody needs to have, like, everyone needs to have a car that draws people in the showroom. I mean, that's Tesla from, you know, Ford, Chevy, Dodge, Tesla, Mercedes. You know, every major car company that produces, even like Ferrari, you get into McLarens, Ferraris, Lamborghini, they all have their iconic special editions, sub 100 units, a small volume. It's just sad to see Mazda just, you know, catering to the, you know, soccer moms and dads.
Yeah.
They
were a classic enthusiast car, and now that's only being really carried from the Japanese standpoint, from the fun import standpoint. You've got Toyota now bringing back the Supra, which isn't even Toyota powered. Still awesome. You know, that BMW engine's great. You've got the Z from Nissan, you know, kind of carrying on that fun legacy, and GTR is kind of their halo. And then I always talk about them because I've had good luck with them, but Hyundai still, they're cranking out some fun little cars. Like, you know, they're some of the last ones. They're kind of taking over the gauntlet from Mazda. Mazda basically said Zoom's dead, and Hyundai was like,
Hyundai came in and said,
hold my sake, or whatever they drink in South Korea, and like, let's roll, you know? And off they went.
Yeah, I mean, Honda's still there. They got the Type R, and they have the NSX. I know they keep saying it's the last year of the NSX. They come out with a special iteration, and then it makes it another production year. So, I mean, you still have some, but you don't have anything iconic from, you know, some of the manufacturers that have been around a long time and should have it.
So
speaking of Honda,
speaking of Honda, Honda actually announced something that I kind of feel like they kind of blindsided everybody kind of doing this, but they are re-releasing a iconic vehicle, which is a Prelude, but it's going to be an EV.
So is it going to be a Prelude, or are they bringing back that name? But are they bringing back the nameplate and are trying to make it like an S2000 successor?
No, it's going to be like an actual Prelude. It's going to be a two-door coupe.
I understand it, but look at the Chargers from the 60s and 70s. They were a two-door large sedan, and now they're a four-door large sedan, right? I'm almost wondering if I don't think so.
You
don't think it's going to try to?
No, because Honda has been rumored to actually wanting to release another S2000 predecessor, and I don't think this is it.
So with the success of the Supra, I was assuming that this was their way of making a rear-wheel drive performance EV or hybrid.
No, I think this is still going to be front-wheel drive because it's a Honda, so it's going to be a front-wheel drive unless it's an S2000 or the NSX.
Well, with EVs, though, it's
really all-wheel drive.
Goes around.
I mean, the Prelude. I don't know what your guys' thoughts were on the Prelude back in the day. I thought they were really cool-looking cars. But once I found out that they were front-wheel drive, ruined it for me.
Yeah,
absolutely ruined it for me.
That last generation that had the dimensions of a rear-wheel drive car, the H22, thing looked
long good.
Yeah, the H22 was a decent engine, and it looked everything. It had the rear, like kind of the haunches, the hips, whatever. Should have been a rear-wheel drive car, and then
should have been.
To your point, it's just a Civic underneath, basically, at the end of the day. So it's front-wheel drive. Yeah. It just looked great for the time.
It's like a techie Civic. It had the four-wheel steering. I think it was like the SH. I don't remember what they called the four-wheel steering, but they had four-wheel steering. And when I was reading all of this, when I was first looking to buy a car, I was thinking these are all things that are going to go wrong, right? It was like it was 15 degrees in the rear. But if you're going to develop all of that, why not just make it rear-wheel drive? And I'll say for that body style, they knew the S2000 was coming.
Yeah.
So they weren't going to produce two cars that fit the same, that were going to compete against each other. But it would have been insane had they have put the drivetrain of an S2000 in the body of that last gen Prelude.
You see, it's really interesting that you say that because around the same time that the Prelude was being produced, they had the Integra Type R, they had the Civic Type R, and then they had the Prelude SIR, which is in Japan. So they had three cars that pretty much, from the same manufacturer, that pretty much competed against each other.
Acura, Honda, and a two-door coupe that you could only get in a coupe. The other cars were available, in a four-door or a fastback, a hatchback option. Where the Prelude going back was sort of like the halo car if you exclude the NSX. So in the US, the NSX was always classified as an Acura. Yeah. So that would be like their equivalent of a halo car. Lower, like I said, lower production relative to typical Honda models. But it was.
Here's my question though, for you guys.
Yeah,
it's like where do you think this fits into the catalog? Right, like why did Honda create this? Because they've already got some coupes. They've already got
I don't think they have a coupe right now.
So
do they not have a coupe right now?
I don't think the Civic comes in a coupe.
They're doing away.
Yeah, the Civic's only 4-door now.
Yeah, the Civic is only 4-door, and so is the Accord.
Okay.
So for their lineup,
so it's a coupe.
They're almost taking a book. Yeah, so it's a coupe, but it's for the lineup. It's essentially what Volkswagen's doing. The current gen GTI, the chassis, everything but the floor is being used for, I believe, the ID3 overseas. So what are they doing? They're using pre-existing parts that they've manufactured, modifying them, and then entering it as a full EV. So they're not having to invest from the ground up.
Okay.
Like it's probably underneath. It's probably a Civic underneath chopped down, or even the Integra chopped down. It's probably all it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you think then that Honda somewhere down the line might try to do a Type R version of this? They didn't ever do the Prelude Type R before. They're pretty protective. They're pretty protective of that. I don't know. I mean, how cool would that be if they released a sort of pseudo SI Type R, whatever the case may be, but it has more of a hybrid drivetrain. Instead of like fully electric, maybe they go hybrid. Put one of their the 2-banger turbo in the front and the hybrid, battery powered like rear end.
With that. And this is why I don't think they'll do it. The reason is because people want them to do it. It just, they have to re-engineer some stuff. Our deal costs more to get it going again, and they're going to sit there and say, "Will we sell enough?" It kind of comes back to the same thing. Why make it manual that many people buy them? Which apparently in the last year or two, manual sales have actually increased. But more and more people are having more problems with EVs, charging, range issues and stuff. And I'm not saying I'm anti-EV, but I'm pretty much anti-EV still. It's not time. Still.
It's funny you mentioned that. Not to cut you off, Eric, but I read earlier this week that the Prelude is going to be a hybrid. So if anything, it's a way that they can put their 1.5 liter, 2 liter turbo with a hybrid chassis in a car. Because I believe they make the CR-V and the Pilot and all of their SUVs in a hybrid. The Civic, I'm not sure if the current gen comes in a hybrid.
They get the 1.5 turbo in it, but it's not hybrid, I don't believe.
I'm not sure that you can get the Civic in a hybrid. And I thought the same thing as you.
No.
But what I'm looking at on Car and Driver is that the first sentence in in one of the paragraphs is all that Honda has divulged so far is that the Prelude concept car has a hybrid powertrain. But they don't talk about what that means. So
right, and that's why I was speculating. I believe that was the article I read. And I wasn't sure what, it could be the 1.5, which, going to what Nick was saying, they always kind of give us the shaft when it comes to what we want versus what they give. Imagine if they did a Type R, Mike, like you were saying, with that 2 liter turbo and, added a hybrid to it. So it'd make, 380, 400. And some sort of all-wheel drive, rear electric, front,
and a small coupe.
Gas.
That'd be
phenomenal, right?
What everybody wants.
But now here's your next problem.
You're not going to do
What's that cost? $60,000.
And nobody's going to pay $60,000 when you have the Supra or the Nissan Z,
right? Or even an M440 coupe. There's just too many things out there for that kind of money at that point. Again, this is another car that's coming out. That's a cool nod to the past. Doesn't do anything for me. There is actually one, and we didn't put it on our notes for the podcast. I don't know if you guys saw, because it was at like a Tokyo Auto Show or whatever, where all these are being revealed. Toyota has a concept for a new MR2 that looks.
I heard about that.
Mm-hmm. You have to Google that one. That looks pretty cool. And maybe it's the whole mid-engine thing. Dude, at this point, I want some of these Japanese companies to bring K cars over. Like, let me buy a brand new K car off of the, Honda showroom floor or the Subaru showroom floor. That'd be pretty cool. A little $15,000 K car that you run around as your daily driver with great fuel economy. Like, that's to me, the MR2 is kind of nod back to that. That's what I'm saying. That's what a Mirage, the Honda Mitsubishi Mirage costs. Yep. Exactly. But now bring out a more reliable non-Mitsubishi little thing that I can actually fit in and drive with my little 660cc turbo engine, and that'd be cool. That'd be a cool little car.
All right, fans, I got a question for the group real quick and for the fans. Will K cars come to the States before Nick finishes his 944? Drop a comment.
Yeah, probably.
It's a good possibility. All I'm saying is I'm probably betting against myself on this one.
Well, people have already been importing them. So to answer your question,
I was going to say they already are here.
Well,
they're here, but
I've been eyeing up the little. I've been eyeing the little vans up myself for no good reason. They're just funky and cool.
You have room in your garage?
Nick.
Well, yeah, who needs room in the garage? I have a big driveway. I can fit like 8 cars in that thing.
How so? You got a lot of room left.
Yeah.
Huh.
If you got rid of the shell of a car in your garage, you could have room for one more in your garage. Just gonna throw that out there.
Then I would just have room for more of my kids' crap, so then nothing else would make it in the garage.
Well, there's your problem.
So, yeah.
Or proper planning. I don't know. You can figure it out. We can do it.
Nonsense.
Well,
but
anyway, it happened, and there was a shortage of 2.5 liter Volkswagen engines.
They're still out there. They're still out there.
I'm making excuses for you.
What? Yeah. I fully own the fact that it's me. It's all me. And Taylor Swift's words, or who is it? Is it Taylor Swift? I'm the problem. It's me. Yeah, it's me. 100%. But anyway, speaking of Toyota, Eric, you had a note in here of something you want to bring up. Did you not?
Yes, so something really interesting, which I was actually going to kind of segue using one of something that you mentioned, which is obviously EVs and hybrids aren't working out as well as manufacturers are planning. So maybe you guys should just fucking stop and just build normal combustion engine, which has worked for
Well,
how
our government
long?
needs to get out of the way first.
Jesus Christ. But anyways, yeah, so there was actually something interesting that was released by Toyota, which I kind of find it really funny of what this concept is. But apparently Toyota is designing a ammonia combustion engine, which if you guys know, ammonia is actually a very deadly chemical for humans. Like if we're anywhere around it, like it's hard for us to breathe, and it's prone to being freaking fatal to us. So I saw that and I'm like, okay,
A for effort.
but yeah, well, so here's the thing. I started reading a couple of things, and Mike, I'll let you go ahead and kind of say what you're wanting to say, but just let me make a couple quick points here. So first off, apparently, ammonia has actually been previously like harnessed as a combustible fuel. So mostly for the shipping and trucking industry, it's actually where it's actually been mostly used at, and apparently. With which I'll actually put a link on the description of what I read. But apparently, when it comes to ammonia, it's a zero emission fuel due to the lack of carbon monoxide that's actually in ammonia. So it may not be a bad thing.
Until you
but
crash.
Also, it's not a good thing. No, until the gases are released and it starts to poison us.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right, and you inhale the fumes and your lungs burn.
Yeah,
skin burns.
So on that note, like I don't remember what it's called, but the reason I know this is because I learned this when I moved into our house. The previous owners had cats, a lot of cats, and we had to replace much of the carpet, a lot of the wood on our stairs because the cats ruined the house. Well, I, in not knowing any better, was going to bleach all this stuff, just start spraying bleach on it. And I think it was my mom that told me that if you mix like ammonia, which is in urine, right? It's just urine. Yeah. Everybody. If you mix ammonia and bleach together, it's like creates a deadly gas, and like you could die for it's mustard gas. Yeah,
it's basically so like chlorine and ammonia.
Yes. And like it's very bad. But like I like for my question is like I don't know. Maybe we learned this in college when I was way younger, but like how does ammonia combust? Like does it need to be pressurized similar to diesel? Does it combust like gasoline where it's flammable? Like I just like I don't know the science behind that.
That's a good question. I could almost imagine it because I don't know if it is flammable or combustible per se.
Like it would have gasoline. To be flammable at some point, but
that's a low burning velocity.
Even diesel's slightly flammable, but not explosive per se.
Well, no, but diesel has to be pressurized heavily. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious. I didn't know if you guys knew that off the top of your head. Like
what's probably going to happen is they're going to sit there and say, hey, we could just bring more diesels to the world, which people actually like. But we'll just create a totally different fuel source that has to be combusted the exact same way, and we'll put it out there. You know, like I don't know.
This reminds me very much of like the talk about hydrogen-powered vehicles, which they've been talking about hydrogen-powered vehicles for 20, 30 years, right?
Well, they're out there. They're already out there.
They've been they're all over Europe. Europe has them, but they're very inefficient. And the fuel maintaining fuel due to the large amounts needed at like gas stations, petrol stations overseas, it's difficult for them to keep up with demand. If almost like EVs here, if everyone were to switch, where we get
certain areas just not enough.
It's just So ironically, though, while you guys were talking, I was looking at ammonia combusting. Apparently, it combusts, but it does not become flammable due to its high ignition temperature and low flame velocity. So it's a low chemical reaction that causes it to when it combusts, but it does not technically burn, which is why there is no carbon dioxide or monoxide.
So I wonder if it's like a diesel then. It's just heat and pressure, essentially.
Oh, it sounds like glow plugs and a high compression engine.
Yeah.
We should just get a diesel engine and just start putting all kinds of chemicals into it and see what it runs on.
You know,
Would a Cummins
Not
six-cylinder
in my house though.
Would the Cummins six-cylinder fit in your 944?
Like the 6.7
No.
liter one?
The six-cylinder, that's a Ford.
No.
I'm talking the ones that Dodge uses, the Cummins, the small ones.
No, Dodge makes a 6.7 liter inline six diesel. It's in all their Super Duties.
So you're saying maybe?
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
Do it.
I mean,
Do it.
it is a front engine, long nosed car. Anything's possible.
You need a big, giant stack out of the top and just roll out of your Porsche. I mean, come on.
Much like Eric likes to, sticker up his C6 and get all the Corvette enthusiasts to hate him.
Oh, yeah.
You could be.
I'm already going to piss off a lot of Porsche people, but I do really want to try and keep a German engine in the car. That's the plan.
I mean, and then no, you could do the diesel, right? You could do the Cummins diesel, and then just your tag could be Dieselgate.
Dieselgate 944.
At that point, why don't we just shoehorn a 10-cylinder Volkswagen diesel into it?
You could just give it. You could just give it a German name.
Yeah, one of the V10 TDIs out of the Touareg. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Go big, go home, Nick.
Ooh, there you go. That'd be fun.
And what's better than a 5? What's better than a 5-cylinder turbo? A 10-cylinder turbo diesel. You are right, Nick. Let's do this.
Or you could just put an LS in it and just get it done. Like just get it done.
That's what Cream was trying to convince me last night.
Just put an LS in it.
I've done an LS slot before. It's not that hard. I mean, it was an LT to an LS, but how hard can it be?
Probably a lot harder than that one.
I mean, just because most things bolted up doesn't matter. But
I'm not sure if you guys. Well, Mike has seen my welding capabilities. They're not pretty. So my fabrication abilities are pretty.
They're not. It's not pretty, but it held.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's still there.
And who's really going to be? This isn't going to be a concourse car, right? Aren't you just going to race it?
No.
Drive it.
Yeah, I need everything to stay attached to the car when it hits a turn.
It's fine. Don't worry.
You got it. I have faith in you.
Come on. Yeah. I don't.
Just make sure you do a nut and bolt check right before you drive it.
Yeah. Right. That was way off there. So yeah. So ammonia, cool, a deadly gas that will kill us and burn our lungs.
I'm wondering if this is.
It'll never be legal in the States. I'm just going to throw that out there now.
I'm wondering if this is.
It'll never happen.
We follow the California, Air Review Board, and they control so much of the automotive industry for the United States because they're not just going to make a car that's sellable in one of the 49.
Eric, what do we say about California?
Oh, they fucking suck.
There you go.
You know what? Knowing California, they're probably going to approve this engine so that they can start killing off, and start reducing the population.
Wouldn't surprise me.
On to the next topic. So, this.
Let's get away from genocide. Let's.
Yeah. So this happened a while ago, but the video kind of resurfaced again. So I kind of want to talk about this one, but it's pretty much one of my favorite manufacturers that pretty much just like to tell everybody else to go fuck themselves and to hold their beer. So it's Koenigsegg, and they like to troll people. Like Christian von Koenigsegg is great. I love that guy because he is a troll, man. Like he is such a big troll. Like Bugatti came up with a video maybe a couple years ago that they're like, yeah, what was it? It wasn't the Veyron. Was it the Veyron? The Veyron Super Sport, or maybe it was the Chiron that can
Chiron
came out to 400 kilometers an hour back down to zero in I don't know how many seconds, and then Koenigsegg is like, here, hold my beer, and they did it in a faster time within a month. So, and the crazy thing is that pretty much it's Christian von Koenigsegg that gets in contact with his customers, and he's like, hey, let me borrow your car. So none of the cars belong to Koenigsegg. They were actually client-owned vehicles, and he borrows them from his clients. And he does these test runs so he can beat manufacturers. So the one that came up recently was that there was a video with Rimac, and they did a speed run from 0 to 400 back down to 0 miles per hour. And of course, Rimac is fully EV vehicle, so it got up to 400 miles per hour or 400 kilometers an hour relatively quickly, back down to 0. And then, of course, Christian von Koenigsegg is like, hold my beer, and they beat Rimac's record. So, Nick, you actually, when I sent this to you guys, you said something very interesting, is that, was it the Hennessy Venom that you were actually anticipating it to actually beat? Oh, the F5, yeah.
So in that article you sent, the Koenigsegg time from 0 to 250 to 0 was pretty impressive. I forget what it was off the top of my head. However, they broke down how long it took that car to go from 0 to 50 before the brakes engaged. And it was like 26 seconds or something, right?
Yeah.
The Hennessy Venom F5 has done 0 to 250 in 15.5 seconds. So it is 10 seconds or so faster to 250 than that Koenigsegg. And it weighs next to nothing. So I'm pretty sure once you stop them brakes, it's going to slow down as quick as the Koenigsegg. So
that's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Imagine the G-forces. But my guess is going to be that the F5 probably all in all beats that thing by 10 seconds, 0 to 250 to 0.
Yeah, but the problem with any of the Hennessy cars, any of their custom builds, is the quality. They're a small manufacturer. They're not even a manufacturer. They're a small, a big performance company. They do a lot of secondary modifications on new cars, outfitting like a
So
Roush.
this is not the F5.
Mm-hmm.
The F5 is a bespoke. They built their own engine.
Right.
It is everything is them for $2.1 million.
Right, but I don't think the quality is going to be where Koenigsegg is, because Koenigsegg, they're an engineering firm first. Car design comes second, and I don't know. I saw.
Yeah, I think this is their true first full design in-house car.
So everything's done in house. It's not like
basically.
the what was the car they
somebody
had
else?
built,
There is
built on the Lotus years ago. The Hennessy, was it the Venom?
No, it's Hennessy.
Yeah,
it was the Hennessy GT or something.
Right.
Yeah, no, the Venom does. There is somebody else involved, I believe, with some of the design and chassis stuff to help them out. It wasn't Multimatic. It was, I feel like it was a name that I've heard of before. I'll have to look it up while we're kind of chit-chatting and see a little bit more about it.
Is it the Venom F5 Revolution? Is that the one you're talking about, or is that the track car?
That's like the new bad boy, basically the track car, carbon fiber exposed body,
1,800 horsepower.
Yeah, they're all 1,800
250
horsepower
plus miles per hour.
Basically, it's a power to weight ratio of about 1,300 horsepower per ton.
Honestly,
it's insane.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like a McLaren mixed with a Celine.
Yeah, but it's only going to have 24 units.
Two beautiful cars.
Yeah.
Well, that particular one, but they make the F5 Roadster. They make the
F5,
the F5 Revolution.
Yeah. The Revolution is like the track. It's like the track
specialty, like a GT3 equivalent. Okay.
Yeah.
Or the GT3.
Which it's probably the same car. It just has a big wing and some extra aero and stuff. But like,
I don't know.
It's a
track a convertible. They make a
the front end like definitely reminds me of like a Celine, and then the rear end looks like straight McLaren, straight McLaren. But I mean, it's a beautiful car.
Yeah, but this could be Hennessy's first attempt at becoming an actual manufacturer, stepping away from just an aftermarket support company or an aftermarket modification company.
Right, and that's what I think they're trying to do here, because they do. It is truly, they consider it a hypercar. They consider it truly bespoke, pretty much all built in house, because they used to use LS based engines. And this new one's like a 6.6 or 6.7 liter V8 that they've named I think the Fury engine.
God, I'm not gonna lie,
that's their own engine now.
That side profile of that car is really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, like, we'll see, because like if Hennessy is, if Hennessy is,
can you imagine?
Which I'm sure that they will actually beat Koenigsegg's record right now, but I feel like Koenigsegg is going to just be like, here, let's put the Gemara up against this.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, that's
like, what,
cute.
20,
You're at where we are in the 2000s.
20,
Here, Look at what we can do now.
2,400 horsepower.
Yeah, I want to see that. But I mean, this car, the Venom, actually has been around now for I think a couple years. It's been out. So it's not like something that just hit the road and they were like, look what this thing can do. It's been doing this for a couple years now.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see this thing get a true track test.
Good for them though, from turning around the issues years ago, getting sued and almost going under, to seeing where Hennessy is now. Good for them for getting for John Hennessy and the team getting making it and becoming a possible manufacturer.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, real quick, let's go ahead and jump into a quick beverage recap here. So I'll go ahead and kick it off. So the pumpkin pie trait from Prairie Artisan kind of caught me off guard. I didn't realize it was actually a sour, and it did have that little bitterness of a typical sour, which was not exactly my cup of tea. It was all right. If somebody actually is into sours, they actually might like that one. The Edmonds Oast Brewing, I'm not gonna lie, I was actually a little disappointed by it. I was expecting more like of a cidery type of flavor with like cinnamon and like maybe caramel, because for sure for the sugar aspect. But yeah, it actually does not taste anything like a apple cider donut.
That's a bummer, man.
Yeah, I was disappointed by it. But I mean, it was a good try. It's an interesting concept. I think if they kind of tweaked it and they actually made it into a cider, I feel like it would actually be a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, they can't all be a hit. There's going to be some misses. If there weren't misses, I'd be way fatter and have way more beer in my fridge.
That's true.
And way less
which I have a ton of beer in my fridge anyways, and I keep adding more beer than what I usually drink.
Me too.
Horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Mike, what about you? What about your beers?
I mean, Woodford is always a good decision.
Oh yeah.
I actually poured myself another finger or two just because why not? Trying to get a good night's sleep. Gourd's Gone Wild is awesome. If you guys have never had this one, I don't know if you guys have tried this before from Tampa Bay, but it's really, really good. They actually make an imperial version of it, which is more akin to like Pumpkin. It's like, I think it's 8.5%, 9% alcohol. I think it's just called Imperial Gourd's Gone Wild. Also good, but this is a little bit different because of the lactose that they use in it. It's a little more, I don't know, it's a little more sweet, a little more creamy, kind of like, it's almost more of like a milkshake-ish kind of flavor consistency, but it's really good. I'm enjoying it. And it's, got a pumpkin. Halloween's on Tuesday, so why not, Carmelo?
So
how are yours?
Mine are good. Obviously, the Slushy XL, this collaboration of 450 North and Odd by Nature Brewing. Good. I didn't realize when I picked it up that it was a collab and basically just a Slushy XL, which I love. But so I was hoping for something a little different. Really good though. Not overly, as I'm pouring more, not overly thick, but not overly thin, as you can see. Kind of just failed at that pour, but whatever. So no, overall it's good. Not overly sweet, not heavy. Just the right amount of like tartness, sourness to it if you're into sour beers. So it's good. Nick, how are your drinks?
So I'm into the sweet potato casserole right now, which I've had on here before and talked about. Every time I drink one of these, I drink it after I drink something like a scotch or a bourbon, and it kind of fries my taste buds. But it's all in all, it's still a good beer. It's very mellow, light on the flavor, not sickening sweet like you'd expect a sweet potato casserole to be at Thanksgiving time and whatnot. It's just a solid drinking beer, decent ABV. Again, it's a limited release, so it's not around year round. Going back on the Whistle Pig piggyback for the Alfa Romeo F1 team, I am still very pleasantly surprised by it. The more I drank of it, it was almost like the more that lychee came out in the finish, and it just, and I think I kind of started to pick up some of that tea in the back. But I really think that oolong tea just mellows the whole thing out and takes that heat away from it, the hotness of the alcohol. But I'm usually not like a big sweet person with a scotch or a whiskey or a bourbon or something like that. I don't even put simple syrup in my old fashions or cherries when I make them.
You know you like ginger ale in your whiskey. Come on.
No, sir.
Don't lie to us.
I don't mix.
Don't lie to us.
I don't do a whole lot of mixed stuff.
No. He likes Diet Coke. That's what he likes.
Sweet tea and whiskey.
It sounds.
We're gonna go down this. We're gonna go down this rabbit hole again.
Well, don't say
That sounds questionable,
because
but
I brought what was it? Was it Jack? Was it peach? No, it was Crown Peach in sweet tea.
The crown with the tea.
The crown and the tea.
Yeah, that's good.
I brought 2 bottles.
Oh, when we started talking about these like heavy flavored whiskeys, I no longer consider them like a typical whiskey that I would drink neat. Most of the time I buy, I would drink neat. So I don't buy the most expensive shit. I don't buy the cheapest by any stretch of the imagination. Far from the most expensive. I find things I like in that low to mid price range, and that's what I keep around. That are good enough to drink room temp neat, no ice. If it's a hot as balls day, I've got whiskey stones always in the freezer, so I'll toss a couple of those in. But yeah, this is one of those ones that is almost like some kind of unsweetened, flavored old fashioned in a sense, because there's something like added to it. But it's I don't know, and the fact that it's like 50% alcohol. I did about a few fingers of it. That's going to be good enough for me tonight. It's just good. It's surprising. Like I said, next time we're all going to get together, and I promised Brandon from number 3 because he let me have one of his special edition whistle pigs when I was there a month or 2 ago. I'm going to find something cool. And I'm going to bring it in to share with him. So maybe one of these times we go to number 3, I'll bring it over and crack it open with him and you guys.
Nice.
So
nice. All right, on to the next topic here. So, Carmelo, you and Nick were kind of briefly talking about this before the podcast, but apparently there's a very interesting car for sale that's up on Cars and Bid. Do you still have that? And do you want to share your screen?
Yep. So, browsing Cars and Bids, because as viewers, you might know, every 18 months or so, I have a car cane addiction that I just trade and get rid of cars. Knock on wood, I've had my Mustang for about 2.5 years, but this Celine popped up. As you can see, less than 16 hours to go. Basically, this is a Celine race car. Nick, you might know a little more about it than I do. Factory built for the Celine Cup. I believe there's 20 to 30 units that race that Cup. I don't know how many units were actually manufactured. There is a GM Ecotec 2.4 liter inline turbo with a sequential gearbox, and I mean the car is just beautiful. But Nick, what do you know? You seem to have a little bit of education on
this.
So
I didn't know too much about this thing. I never knew Celine built Cup cars before this popped across my email earlier in the week for like new listings. But as soon as I saw it pop up as a Cup car, of course I had to click into it and see what it was about. But beyond that, I don't know a whole lot about it. I was surprised. Well, not surprised it has a GM engine in it because the old Celine S7 had an LS-based engine, I believe, in it as well. Celine seems to do a lot of Chevy engines. But this thing reminds me, not in looks by any stretch of the imagination, but it reminds me of the Mazda prototype car, just solely because of the
go back. If you sorry to interrupt, Nick, can you go back to that picture in front of the Mustang?
Yeah.
The size comparison.
Yeah, it's small.
It looks,
oh my god! Yeah, look at that thing.
Alfa Romeo, is it the C4? The little tiny Alfa.
Yeah, 4C.
4C.
Yeah.
Okay. A little bit of dyslexia.
It's probably about the size of that thing.
Yeah,
What's cool about this to me is the same thing Mazda did. Man, Mazda took a 2 liter. This is a 2.4, but they're putting out damn near 600 horsepower out of these little 4 cylinders that are reliably running endurance type races. I mean,
look
it's
at how
just,
small compared to that 3 Series.
Wild.
It's tiny.
Wow. Yeah, look at how tiny it is.
It almost, but it's
but I mean,
it's almost like Cayman, like Porsche Cayman size.
Yeah, like a GT4.
Yeah.
That's probably actually a very good comparison. I mean, when you look at the rear too, look at that. That's a very modern Porsche kind of light bar across that bumper and spoiler look. So it might have some similar dimensions to that car itself.
It's a cool looking car, though.
Yeah, I bet you it sounds wicked, even though it's just a little 4-cylinder.
That is a phenomenal.
That's a turbo spool.
It looks amazing. The duckbill, is that? I can't tell if that's active aero. No, that's just adjustable aero.
No, it's not active arrow.
Yeah, no, but
Well, what's with the center portion there that looks like it's got like huge gaps in between that and the?
it's removable.
It's a
I
race
think it's a
car.
mid-engine.
Yeah, it's a mid-engine. I mean, even if you look at like
Yeah.
this door gap, I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, but the door gap on the
Yeah.
front where the front fender is. I mean, these are
Yeah.
race cars built by Celine, and Celine made the S7.
Yeah.
They've modified a ton of Mustangs. I think they did a few Camaros and Chargers over the years. But ultimately, you're going to have gaps. I mean,
Is that a Supra?
that is a Supra in the background.
Is that a Supra?
Is that a Supra?
But
Yeah,
That's
no,
not
I think
that looks so good.
It's a cool looking car. Definitely
yeah,
a cool
no, it
looking
for sure
car.
is.
I would
makes
see.
you wonder
Here's
what it
my.
costs to make it legal.
Well, we talked about this earlier, right? So this is not a street legal vehicle, right? So you cannot just take this to Publix down the road to get a chicken tendy sub.
I mean,
Well, it's Florida.
but
You can probably pull it off.
But you would want to, right? Like I could not
Oh,
own
yeah.
that car and not just go for a drive. Like I couldn't. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I couldn't be able to just trailer that and take it to a track somewhere. Like look at that thing.
but even look at like the headlights. Just, I'm surprised that Celine did something like this and never made any type of production car because of the amount of effort and time they've put into the design. Is
Yeah, I mean,
truly
I
surprising.
definitely. And granted, this is me nitpicking, but like if you go back to that headlight picture,
Oh yeah, I mean,
like you can definitely you can see like there's a lot of miscalculations. Like look at that duct right there.
look at from the bumper to the hood.
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
towards the nose. Like, yeah, but you
Yeah,
gotta remember too,
there's-
this is a race car. This might have been the third or fourth bumper
Exactly.
it's
How much
had.
abuse is it taken?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it's a,
Yeah, like look at that. Look at the duct right there.
Yeah,
like
how
look
low
at
it
how
is.
badly fit that is.
Well,
Like-
I feel like a lot of it is actually like the wrap that's actually on the car. Because Carmelo, go back a couple pictures. Because if you see, if you go back a couple pictures, like the wrap is coming off, so that's why he made it
Of
look like
course,
that.
Right
yeah, and
there.
it's got the livery too. But like
Keep
some
going. Yeah,
some of
you
that
see
is
right
just.
there?
Well, yeah, but like you can see that little triangle duct. But anyway,
Mhm.
this, like I said, this is me nitpicking a literally purpose-built race car,
right, but again,
that I can't afford.
I
Honestly,
want to say that this is, last time I looked, it's 55 grand. I mean, even
It's pretty-
That's
the
not bad.
Civics,
It's not bad,
the
yeah.
Volkswagen GTI TCR, I looked at a few years ago. It was 75-80, and that's a front wheel drive car. It's basically a what is it? A GTI S. It's not the R. It's not the Golf R. It's just the
Yeah.
one just under it,
Mhm.
and that's 75 new. That was 2 years ago. Now it's probably like 85, 90. This is a killer deal
Yeah.
for
Like-
anybody. I mean, look at that interior. It's a race car. There's no way that this will be.
100% race
Street
car.
legal.
Yeah.
All right, so let's you were talking about production stuff. Back out of your
Yep.
screen share real quick. Let me while you were doing that, first of all, I found one thing on Celine's site that I never should have seen, but they now offer Baja Bronco modifications, which for anybody that pays attention, my wife has a new Bronco.
You won't.
Nick.
I did not want to
No.
see that. No, it's
Don't
hers.
do it.
Hers will be a pavement princess forever. So none of that kind of stuff.
Why not get a
The
Raptor
new
and send it to
rabbit
Celine,
hole,
Nick?
the
Get
new
Brap
rabbit
to-
hole that Nick is going to go
I didn't
to.
actually see what they were putting in there, but here's coming soon, Carmelo. This is the car that's based off of. That's the S1. This is the one. So they are actually
Oh, they
making
are.
a street legal production version of that car
Nice.
with way better body gaps. So
And it has the same 450
but-
horsepower as the
well,
Cup car.
same engine, but down tuned obviously a little bit. But yeah, they do 2,700 pounds, less than 2,700 pounds, 450 horsepower. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the proportions of that thing just look
Mhm.
phenomenal. I think what we were talking about earlier, I think they're going to try and work on something along the lines of probably a 718 Cayman or 718 like GT4 type competitor. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Which is again exciting. Whether I can ever afford one, whether I'll ever see one in person, I don't know.
Well,
But I love
what is the
pushing
what is the
other
pricing
manufacturers.
on the
It just says coming
S1?
soon.
To be announced.
Ah,
Well, so the S1's the Cup car. The one is the new one coming out.
the one.
Yeah. The street legal version of the S1 basically that's already exists. Because yeah, the S1 I was doing a quick little reading. Basically is a Celine built and maintained vehicle that shows up at the track and you're just one of the drivers. Basically, that's how that works. They run them all the
That's
way
cool.
around through the Cup across the country. The driver shows up and drives it.
Hmm.
So they maintain it and take care of it and all that kind of stuff. So, which is, I mean, it's pretty cool. It's almost like buying into like the Valkyrie program, except probably way less money, where manufacturer maintains it, takes the tracks and shit like that for you. So
Celine 1 starting at $100,000.
That's cheap.
okay. That's a lot of money, but that's not hateful.
That's relatively cheap for what it's trying to achieve.
Yeah.
I mean,
we won't have one new in the near future, but
you know, you got to look and like compare that to like
Look at
a
the
brand
price
new
for the GT4
Vet.
RS.
a vet.
Well, yeah, but like
Not
look
even-
at a Corvette. Look at a
But you got to remember too, this is going to be a little more bespoke than a Corvette. So think more of like a 911, a McLaren.
Yeah.
That's what this
2,700 pounds.
I'm still thinking the 718. Porsche 718 is the mid-engine
Mm-hmm.
market for this
Turbo.
thing, and the GT4 is like $120, I think. So that's
a fair
Turbo
price.
4-cylinder,
Yeah.
450 horsepower, $100,000 starting
and
at
they're
100,000.
running
2700
affordable General
bucks.
Motors.
Oh, sorry.
General Motor engines. Like
It said starting at 100 on the first page, and then you go to the next page. It says starting at 120. So we just jumped $20,000
so
just by
it's
switching
it's
to a new page.
Porsche 718.
I mean, that's
So it's gonna be a
Yeah, it's a
different
Cayman.
car.
trend of, you
It's
know,
basically a
manufacturers.
Cayman.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's pretty
And
much
which is
just
cool.
a bigger car.
it's just
Yeah.
going to push more manufacturers, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of like we were talking about Hennessy earlier doing a production car. Good for Celine for bringing back the S7 wasn't. I don't know if you guys. I've been a huge Celine fan for years.
Oh, I love the
Since
S7.
the
Ever
new
since
Edge.
Bruce Almighty, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that's right.
That's the first time I ever
Yep.
saw that car, and I
Yep.
loved instantly.
And you know that was like their one and only. They made a couple hundred units, if that. I know their plan was to make like 300 or 400. I think they made it produce maybe half that, just over 220 or so. So to see them coming back and doing it is something phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually interesting that they're going to be releasing that because Celine had talked about, and you can find this mostly like on video games, but there was a car that they were going to be releasing, but they never did, which is the S5S Raptor.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys look it up, oh my God, that thing was gorgeous. It had like a V8 in it. And that thing was
I
ridiculous.
wonder why
but
it
they
never came out, because they put all the money into it.
I don't know.
And then maybe
Yeah.
maybe it was, 2018, 2019? Maybe it just didn't work out with the times.
I think it was before that too. It
I
was
just
like
zoomed out
way
for a sec,
before that.
looking at something. What car was this?
The S5S Raptor from Celine. They designed it. They made like an actual like a prototype for it, and they just never released it. And that thing was beautiful.
Oh,
It
that
was
was 08.
gorgeous.
So that was.
Oh,
I
see
didn't realize
what
it was
you're
that
saying.
long ago. God, I'm old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was March of 08.
Yeah.
So the recession
Yeah.
is what did that car in. I'm not gonna. I can't
Yeah.
say that with certainty, but
But if you look at that thing, dimensions wise, the kind of double stack
Mhm.
headlights, it's kind of that this new
a
one coming
modern.
out.
Yeah, it's a
Looks like
modern
it kinda-
edition.
Yeah, I bet you this is the continuation of that car, bringing it
Yeah,
to
it's
life.
possible. It's possible, and they would just bring it back as the S1.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, on to more news. So there's two announcements that came out recently. One of them we kind of started to talk about, which is about Hert. And he finally made his announcement of why he left Hoonigan. So, and it's really funny because we kind of started to go into a whole T-Pain tangent, but apparently Hert is co-owner and president of Nappy Boy Automotive. And obviously the other co-owner is T-Pain. So it's kind of cool how like they actually are both co-owners now of Nappy Boy Automotive. So I'm excited to see what they're going to be doing with that. I'm assuming they're going to create a YouTube channel and just start doing a bunch of shenanigans with drifting and just other car stuff. But aside from releasing that news that he is co-owner and president of Nappy Boy Automotive, there's a rap video that was released that's called Baby Got Brap. And I'll go ahead and put the link of the description of the song here below so you guys can watch that. Yes.
So have
slaps.
you seen the video? Have you guys all seen the video?
Yeah.
I haven't. I only listened to it on Spotify.
So
yeah, I only saw the song. I didn't see the video.
The video is good. I haven't listened to it without the video. I saw it. It came up on my YouTube feed. I saw it. It was cool, but not what I was expecting. I don't know. It's a cool video. The cinematics of it is good. I guess like not the story, but you Eric, especially if you haven't seen it, there might be some tandem drifts going on. You'll like it, and then some of the lyrics will make sense.
I mean,
You're talking about the
I'm not
story.
surprised. I'm not surprised.
You're talking about the story as if you follow the plots when you go to Pornhub. Like, come on, man, it's just a music video.
Yeah.
What's Pornhub?
Sure.
Sorry, yellow tube
Sure.
or orange tube. What do they call
Orange
it?
tube?
No, that's
Amish too.
Dude, what is?
Yeah.
because it's black and orange on the emblem. So the YouTube is just nothing. No, forget about it. I apparently follow the wrong people on Instagram. Just ignore me.
Yeah, no. I was joking about the Pornhub thing, but the orange tube, I'm lost. But yeah, so but you guys check out Eric. I'll drop the video link in below, and that check it out because it's not. It's almost like the '90s videos where there's like a prelude into the video, so that's why there's a story.
Oh, nice.
It's,
Gotcha. Okay.
Nice.
Where Ben
but I mean, like,
into
I
a
feel
shop.
like
There's a bunch of FDs, FCs. They start talking about going to a car show, and then it goes into the song. So there's actually a story.
Yeah.
Get your mind out of the gutter, Nick.
Yeah.
Not all of us are always dirty.
Yeah, but T-Pain, I mean, like, we kind of
It's
briefly
all about the
mentioned
story.
like we kind of briefly mentioned that. Yeah, of course, it's always about the plot, right?
It always ends with a bang.
So yeah, we kind of briefly talked about T-Pain and doing like a whole like drifting stuff, but like even like with Team RTR, like he did a song for Team RTR that he gives a shout out to Von Gittin and to Chelsea Denofa in the middle of the song, and one of the lines of the video or of the song says something about the Dirty Fox body, which is a reference to Chelsea Denofa, which I'll put the link for that video on the description below as well. I think it's called Spooky Shreds, Spooky Slides, one of those. But yeah, that's actually a pretty decent song. But anyways, yeah, freaking T-Pain, man, that dude's awesome. I love that guy.
Yeah.
And the second announcement is, and I think Carmelo and I were kind of talking about it, and he seemed kind of excited about it, but apparently Nopi is making a comeback. Did you guys see that?
I don't know
I've
if you
seen the
guys
announcement.
have ever been to Nationals, but I
Yeah.
went to Nationals back in, I think it was 04, 05 or 03, 04, out in Bradenton at the motorsports park there. Phenomenal. I was in, I don't know, I was like a sophomore or junior in high school, and my dad, I convinced him to take me. And maybe I was younger, maybe I was a freshman. And I just remember going with him. And then the following year, he's like, hey, is Nopi happening again around spring break? You know, my dad was in his like mid to late 30s. Car shows, drag racing. The second one, there was like a little bit of drifting, but there was, modeling contest, the bathing suit contests. One point there was like a foam pit, jello wrestling, and tons of automotive parts.
You would remember all that. You would remember all that stuff.
Well, it's because he ate all the Jello.
Yeah.
It had an interesting flavor from what I heard.
No.
You can't take me anywhere.
No, we can't. Oh god.
Intrusive thoughts. Okay, I can't help it.
Yeah, but no, I the actual Nopi Nationals themselves, like I've never been to, but I've gone to like the Nopi events, like when they used to have them up in Tampa. The car shows, they had drifting there. They had obviously like all like the model stuff, like the wet t-shirt contest and stuff like that. But yeah, like Nopi is making a comeback next year. They're supposed to make a huge announcement sometime this weekend during SEMA. But yeah, like more to come on that, because I mean Nopi was huge like when I was younger, and obviously when Carmelo was younger as well, when we were all younger actually. But yeah, like we're interested to see what.
Well, and didn't they? I feel like they used to have like a TV show too, or something on like Speed or Spike or one of those, didn't they?
It was on Speed, yeah.
It was on Speed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And they would
watching
cover the different events. They had multiple national events, and then they had finals, I think in Atlanta. Back then. And it was like qualifying, almost like Grid Life, where they, there was qualifying rounds, and then what was best to show, drag racing, drift, whatever, automotive, whatever form of racing. So
that'd be fun to see something like that come back to Bradenton.
Oh my god, that'd be so cool.
Which is, I mean, I never followed much about Bradenton, but they do a lot more events than I realized.
So,
which maybe I'll get up there one day, even if I'm not running. and it's not rained out, and I'll actually get to watch something. But
And they private rent the track out too. So like my buddy
yeah,
Greg,
but the dude
who's
that
up
rented it
there
out this weekend has a freaking Technica, so he's got more money than we do.
yeah, but he got walked by a BMW SUV. So
the Technica's for sale already, probably.
No, they're probably gonna end up getting in contact with VF Engineering and start heavily modifying that thing.
Twin turbo, the superchargers.
Well,
supercharger.
VF Engineering do superchargers,
Yeah.
So, and on that note, that's all the time that we have here for today. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate all of the subscribers and all of our viewers and listeners. Remember to savor your brews and hit the road responsibly. Cheers to booze and cars, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Cheers.
BBC.